Mikra and Moshe. Hashem calls out to a human being. How fortunate is a human being that can have something like this written about him. That's the force that lives within life, that powers everyone, called him in order to reveal to him how to bring humanity closer to their true nature, to their origin, to the balance that is required in order for them to prosper, in order for them to thrive. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu calls Moshe and he tells him about the karbanos, the offerings that are supposed to unite the hearts of the people with the desire of the collective, with the desire of the power that makes the people be. From the sense of the absolute unity of the Creator, all these things would have no place. Not the calling, the one that is above time cannot be considered to call, and not the sacrifices. The sacrifices indicate that there can be changes within the divine plan, and those changes don't reach to the infinite one that is above time. And so when we're talking about Hashem, when we're talking about the relationship between the Creator and creation, the place where that relationship is being communicated is within creation. And so when the Creator teaches, this happens through a person tapping into an intelligence that is innate, that is the intelligence that creates all, the intelligence that's making this moment be as it is. There is a force, there is a power that is doing this to us. This is happening to us. We're not making this happen. Someone is making this happen to us. And that someone is the power that makes everything. And we are experiencing them, their will. This is the relationship that we have with life. So when we talk about Hashem giving a message, we're talking about the intelligence being revealed for what it really is, so that we can understand reality the way that it is. And this is necessary because the world is covered in false beliefs, because humanity has lost access to their own nature. So now we require a prophet, we require someone who has the capacity to see with the eyes of the Spirit, to tell us what is the reality amongst all the beliefs and all the habits that we have inherited. What is the truth behind all the rituals? What is the goal? How do we measure? How do we see success? What is it we're really after in the first place? Because we're trying to align with life. We're trying to align with the reality that's inside of us, the reality that will never leave us, the reality that is us and will guide us to become whatever is possible for us to become. So the message that comes is a message from the intelligence that created life. It's a truth that's aligned with that reality. And from there comes a message about using the life of animals to gain an understanding, to gain an appreciation for our own experience. So when someone would bring an offering to the divine, most offerings related to something in their experience that caused them separation from their own beliefs, from their own understanding of what they're supposed to be. And so when a human being in the world of action differs from the way that he is in the world of thought, then the being becomes fragmented. The relationship with the self, and as an extension with reality and with everyone in it, becomes fragmented. Their understanding of self becomes separated from the will and design of what they understand the Creator wanted. And so in order to return this person to alignment with reality, they would bring a sacrifice in the sense that they would bring something that is physical, material, that has a soul, that has a life force within it, and that would be sacrificed for the greater good. The greater good is the divine presence upon this planet. And this would indicate that this person understands that they want to realign with reality. They're willing to sacrifice whatever they misunderstood about life, to sacrifice their misunderstood desire and align their own desire, their own future, their own path with the divine path, with the nature that is innate within every human being. And so the power of the sacrifice, the power of the offering, is to repair the relationship. This is the goal. To repair a relationship that is very fragile. A relationship that can easily be damaged. In fact, since we don't have the Beis HaMikdash, we don't have the ability to bring sacrifices. The relationship has become so distant that the wise already understood that the sacrifice is no longer useful to mend this relationship. The sacrifice would no longer be the appropriate method of repairing the relationship. And this is why there was no longer the ability, there was no longer the collective will to protect what was rightfully theirs, their freedom, their ability to practice their own understandings, their own beliefs. They lost all that because they didn't believe any longer. They were no longer attached to their true core, to their true nature. They were becoming distracted by the senses, by survival, by what was going on outside. And they lost touch with the internal reality, with the internal relationship that drives everything that happens on the outside. And so the prophets established a method for repairing a relationship. But we have to remember the goal. The goal is the relationship. The relationship was the goal then. The relationship is the goal today. That did not change. The methods, the rituals, the capacity that we have to repair this relationship is limited compared to what was available in the past. But the goal is still the same. The message is still the same. We need to have a relationship that is very developed with the being that lives inside of us and with the source that gives life to that being. Because this is our nature, this is our truth. This is what awaits us after we leave. And this is what's giving us life while we're here. This is already happening. It's the realization that's necessary. And this realization requires that we dedicate ourselves, that we devote time, that we devote desire, place in our heart to achieve more realization, to achieve a closer connection to the spiritual, to the part of us that is invisible, to the part of us that cannot be perceived by the senses. And that part is what causes our senses and all our other organs to function and to create whatever it is that they were designed to create, including our thoughts and our feelings and our sensations. So today, we no longer have offerings in the sense of offering an animal. And today, our minds are not used to thinking in those symbolic ways. And therefore, the meaning and the purpose wouldn't be there, even if we were to do the act. But what's left for us is to recognize what the prophets were trying to teach us in the first place, to recognize the real message, the core of the message, because the core of the message is the only message. Everything around it is a result of that core and is there to protect the core. And the core of the message is that your reality, your relationship with reality, your understanding and belief about what's happening is the most important part of your experience. It's the most important part of what's going to guide your future, what's going to make you whatever it is you're going to become. And so, if there is distance, and knowing the world today, there probably is, then that needs to be our first focus. How do we repair the distance in this relationship? How do we come close to life itself? How do we unite with life as one? How do we learn to love this experience unconditionally, without any expectation for what it is or how it is, but just because it's valuable enough based on our understanding, we're mature enough and intelligent enough to understand the value of what we were given. And it doesn't need to be justified based on the individual events that are taking place, because they're all part of a bigger picture that we cannot see. So this relationship is key to what we expect life to give and how we react to life. and what thoughts we're going to think, and what things we're going to say, and how we're going to behave. So this really drives the entire experience. It drives our entire personality. Today, the best replacement for offerings is studying wisdom, because studying wisdom is what separates us from the animals. It's our capacity to understand who we are and how we function that separates us from the lower forms of being. And so rather than sacrificing the animal, we elevate the animal through wisdom. And so this capacity to understand wisdom was given to us in place of all the offerings. This is the preferred method of how to elevate all our instincts and all our impulses to align with the ultimate goal, and to have no interest, no individual desire that doesn't align with the greater good. And this is not only between our own organs, but also between each other, between communities, between people who interact, that people realize the importance of always remembering the greater good, so that life and the inhabitants of life can maintain a proper relationship with their creator, with the life force that lives inside of them. The prophet, he tunes in to the real nature of what is. The prophet is simply himself, without any additions, without any interpretations that are his own. And therefore, he represents life itself. He represents the creator. When we say that there was a calling, we're saying that the prophet gained access to an inspiration that brought him closer to the infinite light, that made him see the truth more clearly. It gave him access to the secrets of the divine nature that causes us to be what we are. As Hashem calls him, this is an indication of closeness. This means that his entire understanding of life, his entire perception, was pure enough so that he can receive inspiration from beyond at any given moment, at any time. He would be able to enter into that state of purity and understanding at will, to separate his mind from all the mundane and to see the true nature of life, the true nature of the spiritual, the nature of the forces and the energies that combine to become what we experience as life, and understand the real underlying relationships between the forces, understand the causes of what's taking place within the mind and within the body. This wisdom is the basis of Lashon HaKodesh. It's the basis of the entire Torah, and it's the reason why this message has survived. It's because it's based on these principles that drive the human being. They understood the human being better than anyone later. And all the generations that came later that were already distracted, didn't understand the importance of knowing the human soul, of knowing its potential and its capacity, and how to develop it so that it can really achieve that potential. So now is the time where we're coming close to Pesach, to a time that represents freedom. And freedom means the knowledge of self. Freedom means that one knows how to be themselves in a safe way. Until somebody can know how to be themselves, they're not free, regardless of what's happening outside of them. And so this type of freedom can only happen through wisdom. It can only happen through realization. It can only happen through becoming aware of what's already there, of what was always there. To really know it, to appreciate the depth of what's already there. To realize that what's already there is worth more than anything that we can add to it or do with it. And this realization will bring us to freedom again. And this freedom will be forever. May it happen soon.